Welcome, basketball fans, to what might just be the most explosive, the most highly debated, and undeniably the most critical update regarding the pride of our nation, Gilas Pilipinas. We are standing at the absolute precipice of a monumental collision on the international hardwood. The stakes have never been higher, the pressure has never been heavier, and the spotlight has never burned brighter on our national squad. Today, we are breaking down a massive development that has sent absolute shockwaves throughout the Philippine basketball community, across social media platforms, and all the way to the shores of Japan where our overseas stars ply their trade. We are looking at a situation that involves the very fabric of our national team's identity, the strategic direction of our legendary coaching staff, and the fiery passion of a fan base that demands nothing short of excellence, heart, and total dedication. We are tackling the massive news of two new Gilas players being thrust into the absolute fire against the Southern Hemisphere powerhouses, the towering tall blacks of New Zealand and the world-class boomers of Australia. This is not just another pair of exhibition games. This is the ultimate crucible. But before we even get to the fresh blood joining the roster, we have to address the elephant in the room. The burning, controversial, and deeply emotional topic plastered across every single forum and debated in every coffee shop across the archipelago. The situation surrounding our high-flying, gravity-defying star. The headline that has everyone asking, abandoned? Not deserving? We are, of course, talking about the absolute uproar regarding Ren's Abando, and whether leaving him off the primary battle lines is a strategic masterstroke or a massive miscalculation that we will live to regret. Let us set the stage properly, because to understand the gravity of today's news, you have to understand the mountain Gilas Pilipinas is trying to climb. For decades, Philippine basketball is defined by a relentless, undersized, but incredibly big-hearted style of play. Puso, we all know the mantra. We have lived and died by it. We have seen our boys go up against literal giants on the global stage, conceding inches in height and pounds in muscle, but never ever backing down from a dogfight. But under the current leadership, under the meticulous, triangle-oriented, defensive-minded philosophy of Coach Tim Cone, the paradigm is shifting. The program is no longer just relying on raw emotion and individual heroics. They are building a machine that prioritizes continuity, size, basketball IQ, and absolute systemic obedience over pure, unadulterated isolation talent. And anytime you shift a culture that drastically, you're going to break a few hearts and spark a million debates. Enter the New Zealand Tall Blacks and the Australian Boomers. These are not your average Asian qualifiers opponents. When you talk about Australia, you are talking about a team dripping with NBA talent, a program that consistently contends for Olympic medals, a squad that executes with a ruthless, almost mechanical precision. They do not care about your heart. They care about exploiting your weaknesses. They will run you off the three-point line. They will bump you off your driving lanes. And they will punish you on the glass until you are physically and mentally exhausted. And New Zealand? The Tall Blacks bring a level of physicality that borders on a rugby match. They perform the haka. They set the tone. And then they proceed to crash the boards, shoot the lights out, and play a brand of fundamental, bruising basketball that has historically given Gilas absolute nightmares. We all remember the heartbreaking blowouts, but we also remember the recent miracles, the moments where we held our ground, where guys like Justin Brownlee and Kai Sato proved that we belong on the same floor as these titans. So, in the face of this immense challenge, the coaching staff has made a move. Two new players are entering the fray against these titans. This is a massive injection of new energy, new tactical possibilities, and new questions. Who are these guys? What specific skill sets do they bring that the coaching staff deemed absolutely necessary to combat the size and shooting of Australia and New Zealand? Are they here to stretch the floor? Are they here to provide switchability on defense? Or are they here to initiate the offense when the Boomers' terrifying perimeter defenders decide to press full court? We are going to analyze exactly how these two new pieces fit into the complex puzzle of the Gilas system. We will look at their track records, their performance in their respective leagues, and how their specific dimensions align with the modern international game where spacing and versatility are the ultimate currency. But the arrival of new faces inevitably means the absence of familiar ones. And this is where the controversy absolutely explodes. Ren's Abando, the human highlight reel, the kid who conquered the Korean Basketball League. The player who brought the entire Mall of Asia arena to its feet with chase-down blocks against NBA players during the World Cup. When you look at his resume, when you look at his undeniable athleticism, his perimeter defense, and his ability to completely change the momentum of a game with a single, breathtaking play, the question screams out loud, how is he not on this roster? How can anyone look at his body of work and say he is not deserving? Fans are absolutely furious. They see a system that is seemingly overlooking a generational athlete in favor of specific role players. They see a kid who plays with exactly the kind of fearless energy we need against bruising teams, sitting on the sidelines. This brings us to the Japan connection, the overseas saga. Our players competing in the B-League, the KBL, and other international circuits have elevated their games to unprecedented levels. They are experiencing different coaching styles, different levels of physicality, and a relentless grind that sharpens their skills. Yet, integrating these overseas stars back into a cohesive, highly structured national team environment is proving to be a complex, sometimes messy process. Scheduling conflicts, differing philosophies, and the simple reality of fatigue all play a part. Is the exclusion of fan favorites like Abando a symptom of this disconnect? Is it a punishment for not being available for every single training camp? Or is it purely a basketball decision based on defensive rotations, half-court execution, and the rigid demands of the current offensive scheme? We are going to peel back every single layer of this narrative. I am not going to sugarcoat anything today. We will look at the facts, the statistics, the history, and the tactical realities of international basketball. We will give voice to the passionate fans who feel their heroes are being abandoned, but we will also fiercely analyze the coaching staff perspective, understanding that winning at the absolute highest level requires cold, calculated decisions that often defy popular opinion. Grab your notes, settle in, and get ready, because we are about to leave no stone unturned. This is a complete, unfiltered, and exhaustive breakdown of the Gilas Pilipinas roster moves, the towering threats of New Zealand and Australia, and the fiery debate over who truly deserves to wear the flag on their chest. Let us transition directly into the absolute core of this situation. We need to dissect exactly what we are up against, because you cannot judge a roster move without understanding the enemy. When you're looking at the Australian Boomers and the New Zealand Tall Blacks, you're not just looking at basketball teams. You're looking at two distinct, highly evolved basketball institutions that have terrorized the Asian and Oceanic regions for years. Let us start with Australia. The Boomers are a completely different animal. This is a program that routinely produces first-round NBA draft picks, elite European League stars, and NBL legends who play a brand of basketball that is incredibly difficult to simulate in practice. Their offensive system is predicated on constant motion, brutal screens, elite passing, and a level of unselfishness that is terrifying to defend. They run offensive sets that are designed to punish the slightest miscommunication on defense. If you are half a step late on a rotation, if you go under a screen when you should have gone over, or if your weak side help is not already in position, the Boomers will make you pay with a wide-open corner three or a thunderous dunk. Against Australia, Gilas cannot rely on athleticism alone. We cannot just out-jump them or outrun them. They are too disciplined. To beat Australia, or even to stay within striking distance in the fourth quarter, you need absolute ironclad defensive integrity. You need players who understand complex switching mechanisms, who can communicate flawlessly in a deafening arena, and who have the physical strength to hold their ground in the post against bigger, stronger bodies. Then you have New Zealand. The Tall Blacks might not always have the household NBA names that Australia boasts, but do not let that fool you for a single second. They are one of the most cohesive, hard-nosed, and relentlessly physical teams on the planet. They play a style of basketball that tests your absolute breaking point. They will pound the offensive glass with 3 or 4 guys on every single possession. They feature snipers like Corey Webster and Jordan Natai, who will pull up from NBA range without hesitation if you give them an inch of daylight. When Gilas played them in the past, we saw firsthand how their physicality can wear our guards down, forcing turnovers and disrupting our offensive flow. The monumental victory we secured against them recently was a testament to Justin Brownlee's heroics and Kai Sato's incredible rim protection, but it was a grueling, taxing affair. New Zealand does not beat themselves. You have to take the game from them, and doing that requires a roster built for a 40-minute street fight masquerading as a basketball game. Knowing this, We have analyzed the introduction of the two new players into the Gilas lineup. When the coaching staff makes a late addition or a significant rotation change heading into a window of this magnitude, it is never an accident. It is a calculated, strategic deployment. Coach Tim Cohn is a master tactician. He does not just collect talent. He builds a puzzle. He is looking for very specific traits. He wants length on the perimeter. He wants players who can seamlessly execute the read and react principles of his offense. He wants guys who will make the extra pass, who will cut hard back door even if they know they won't get the ball, just to clear out the strong side. These two new additions are entering a pressure cooker. If they are guards or wings, they are being brought in to handle the immense ball pressure that Australia and New Zealand apply. They need to be able to cross the half-court line against a trap, initiate the offense without turning the ball over, and knock down open shots when the defense inevitably collapses on Brownlee or Sato in the paint. If they are big men, their job is even more grueling. They are tasked with setting bone-crushing screens, rolling hard to the rim, and surviving the absolute warfare that happens on the basket against guys like Yanni Wetzel or the Boomers' formidable front court. Integrating new players into a system this complex, especially against top-tier competition, is incredibly risky. But if the coaching staff feels these specific pieces are necessary to counter the size and schematic advantages of the opposition, it speaks volumes about the perceived gaps in the current roster, which brings us, inevitably, forcefully, and directly to Ren's Abando, the uproar, the phrase, abandoned, not deserving, echoing across the basketball landscape. Let us completely unpack this, looking at it from every conceivable angle. From the perspective of the fans, the outrage is entirely justified. Ren's Abando is a spectacular talent. He is a 6'2" wing who plays like he is 6'8" because of an absolutely freakish vertical leap and a wingspan that allows him to contest shots nobody else on the floor can reach. During the FIBA World Cup, he was a revelation. He was the one guy who consistently provided a spark of pure, unadulterated electricity. When the offense was stagnant, when the team looked defeated, Abando would come out of nowhere for a massive offensive rebound, a chase-down block on a fast break, or a deeply contested three-pointer. He proved himself in the Korean Basketball League, an incredibly fast-paced, highly physical league, leading his team to a championship and showing that he can excel as a primary option or a high-level role player. For the fans, basketball is entertainment as much as it is a science, and Abando provides the soul, the fight, and the visual spectacular that the Philippine audience craves. To see a player with his heart, his international experience, and his proven track record left off the roster feels like a massive injustice. It feels like we are leaving our sharpest sword in the armory while going to war. But let us pivot and look at this strictly from the cold, calculating perspective of the coaching staff. Coach Tim Cohn has explicitly stated his vision for Gilas Pilipinas. He is moving away from the era of quick fixes and individual isolation basketball. He wants a continuous, deeply connected pool of players who know his system inside and out. The system relies heavily on spacing, specific angles, high IQ reading of the defense, and most importantly, size at every position. In Cohn's ideal world, your point guard is 6'4", your wings are 6'6", and your bigs are towering mobile anchors. While Abando is an athletic marvel, he is still a smaller wing on the international stage. When you are playing Australia, a 6'2" shooting guard, no matter how high he jumps, is going to be targeted in the post by a 6'7" Australian playmaker. Furthermore, Abando's game is heavily predicated on chaos, transition, and instinctual basketball. The current Gilas system is predicated on order, half-court execution, and extreme tactical discipline. Sometimes, an incredibly talented player simply does not fit the specific machinery a coach is trying to build. It is not about whether Abando is good enough. He unequivocally is. It is about whether his specific style of play aligns with the rigorous, structured demands of the offense and defense against opponents who will punish any gamble or misrotation. Furthermore, we have to consider the logistics of international availability. The overlapping schedules of the B-League, the KBL, and FIBA windows create absolute nightmares for roster continuity. If a player cannot attend the majority of a training camp, integrating them into a complex system at the last minute is nearly impossible, regardless of their talent level. The coaching staff has prioritized players who are present, who have absorbed the playbook, and who have built chemistry with the core unit over months of repetition. This is the harsh reality of building a national team program. It is often less about compiling an all-star team of the best individual talents, and more about assembling the best cohesive unit. The debate over Abando is a microcosm of the larger philosophical battle currently happening in Philippine basketball. Are we a team that relies on the spectacular, the unpredictable, and the immense individual heart of our players? Or are we evolving into a systematic, disciplined, albeit sometimes rigid basketball machine that sacrifices individual flair for collective efficiency? The absence of Ren's Abando suggests the latter. It is a bold, controversial statement by the coaching staff that nobody, regardless of their popularity or highlight reel capability, supersedes a tactical blueprint. As we prepare to face New Zealand and Australia, the pressure on this current roster, and particularly on the new additions, is astronomical. If the team struggles, if the offense bogs down, if they lack that spark of energy and athleticism on the wing, the cries for Abando will only grow louder and more furious. The coaching staff has bet heavily on their system, their size, and their preparation. They believe that against the giants of the Southern Hemisphere, structure and discipline will win out over raw athleticism. It is a massive gamble. The fans are watching. The critics are waiting, and the players on the floor are carrying the weight of an entire basketball-crazed nation on their shoulders. They have to prove that the choices made, however unpopular, were the right ones. They have to prove that the system works. As we wrap up this massive deep dive, we have to take a step back and truly appreciate the absolute spectacle that is Philippine basketball. The passion, the endless debates, the heartbreak, and the undeniable pride we feel for our national team. It is unlike anything else in the world. Whether you're furiously typing in the comment section defending Ren's Abando, or whether you're completely bought into the systematic vision of the coaching staff, the underlying truth is the same. We all care deeply. We all want Gilas Pilipinas to not just compete, but to conquer. The task ahead is nothing short of Herculean. The Australian Boomers and the New Zealand Tall Blacks are coming into these matchups with bad intentions. They are looking to assert their dominance, execute their game plans, and quiet the most passionate basketball crowd on the planet. For the two new faces stepping onto court wearing the Philippine flag, welcome to the absolute highest level of pressure. Your every move, every rotation, and every shot will be scrutinized by millions. But you also have the backing of an entire nation ready to explode with every defensive stop and every made basket. To the players overseas, the B-League stars, the KBL champions, your grind in foreign lands has elevated the standard of the Filipino basketball player globally. The logistics of bringing everyone together will always be a complicated puzzle, but the talent pool has never been deeper. The Abando situation, as incredibly divisive as it is, proves just how much premium talent we have fighting for just 12 spots on a roster. It is a painful controversy, but in a strange way, it is a good problem to have. It means our expectations are sky high. It means we no longer settle for just showing up. We demand the absolute best configuration of our talent to win. As the tip-off approaches, all the debates, all the analysis, and all the controversy will have to take a back seat to the action on the hardwood. It will come down to executing the game plan, surviving the physical onslaught, and finding that distinct Filipino magic when the shot clock is winding down. We will be right here, analyzing every single possession, celebrating every triumph, and breaking down every flaw. Make sure you sound off below. Let your voice be heard on the Abando debate, the new additions, and our chances against these international giants.